when I finished Viva Hate in Christmas '87, basically went through a period of nearly 2 months of not being in contact with Morrissey at all, and I was getting a bit upset. You know, I felt I'd literally worked myself to the bone to get that album done. I mean, we started it in October. It was finished and mixed by Christmas of the same year. Considering it was, you know, we didn't start on the idea of writing together until September, or so August, September of '87. I felt, you know, we'd worked pretty damn well, and yet for 2 months I was completely out of contact with him. He wouldn't make contact. He wouldn't, you know, answer phone calls or anything. So I was getting a bit upset. As it happened, Suedehead came out in February of that year. Got fantastic reviews right across the board, went smashing into the chart, and I get a phone call from Morrissey. Oh, Stephen, can we go back in the studio again? So I was like, yeah, well, at least I'm back on, you know, back in the team again anyway. So we go into the studio in spring of that year, and I had a really good session actually. We recorded some new B-sides to go on the B-side of Every Day's Like Sunday. There's a track called We'll Never Marry, which I'm particularly proud of. I thought it was a very good session. And we did that session with Vinnie Riley and Andrew Morrissey. Now, on that session, Vinnie Riley was proving to be a little bit difficult. He was being very moody and, you know, making noises about, you know, the chord sequences and everything, and disagreeing with what I particularly wanted him to do a lot of the time. And he felt he could be better suited to be Morrissey's songwriter. So, in fact, one day in the studio, I said to him, well, you go ahead and you see if you can come up with something. I left him to it. But obviously there was an atmosphere in the studio, and after I finished that session, I kind of made it clear to Morrissey that I didn't really enjoy that. Hadn't enjoyed that session, and Morrissey kind of pretty much said the same thing. And it was felt that if we were to continue recording together later in the year, that we wouldn't use Vinnie Riley. So then, surprisingly to me, he came up with the idea of saying he wanted to work with Andy and Mike again. And would I have a problem with that? I said, of course not. You know, if you want Mike and Andy in again, that's fine by me. And also, well, we need a guitar player. And he said, well, perhaps we could use Craig. And I said, okay, fine, I don't mind. And we needed also, I wanted to get another guitar player and perhaps to play more lead type parts if necessary. Because one thing Vinnie had supplied on the Viva Hate album, which is more kind of lead type guitar lines. And so we got this session guitar player called Neil Taylor in. So we went into the studio later on in '88, and we did the session that provided the singles for Interesting Drug and Last of the Famous International Playboys. Now, while we were doing that session, Morrissey came up with the idea of doing this gig, Christmas special gig at Wolverhampton. And so part of the session started then becoming like a rehearsal for that gig, which kind of miffed me slightly, you know, because I was kind of wanting to focus on, you know, recording and getting songs done. And I had kind of said, well, listen, you know, if you're going to be doing this gig, you know, could I possibly join in and play on stage for 1 or 2 songs? I mean, they are going to be playing songs that I've written, you know. And I was kind of given this little kind of, I could tell the atmosphere amongst the boys, you know, the ex-Smiths boys, was, well, no, well, rather you didn't do it, Streety, you know, like, and it was like a little bit, keep out the way, this is the Smiths back on track again. And I'd certainly felt as if I was getting pushed to one side. And it was like the beginning of the end, really. Mike and Andy, don't forget, were the Smiths, and now they're coming in, and they're working with Morrissey, but it's not Johnny telling them what to do, it's me. And that felt a bit awkward. And, you know, it wasn't, it put a lot more pressure on me in some ways. I mean, you know, psychologically, it was a bit of a, you know, it was a bit of a kind of challenge, really. I certainly feel, as I say, they must be thinking, great, this is the first step to the Smiths reunion, which you can't blame them for believing, you know. I mean, it was good as damn it, you know. So, but I certainly felt like, we're back now, move over, Streety, we're in, we'll take over from here, you know. And I kind of felt a little bit as if I had been pushed to one side. And I actually felt the songs were getting better and better. I mean, because if you took, I mean, you consider, as I say, Viva Hate was done pretty much in a 4-month period from beginning to end. You know, I carried on writing, and if all the best of the B-sides and the singles that came out the following year had all gone onto the Viva Hate, the first debut album, it would have been an incredible debut record. You know, I mean, I still think the album's strong, but you know, obviously it's got a few patches in it which I think I'm not that happy with. But then again, people are very ready with happy with everything that they do. But I certainly felt that for me, the songwriting was getting better and better, and I thought, we're going places. There's no reason why we can't do another complete album, you know. But it wasn't to be.